Today we're walking through 5 practical ways hosts successfully use a VA or virtual assistant, plus real examples you can start using whether you have one property or several.
And stay until the end because most VA relationships fail, and we're going to show you how to avoid that. VAs are a lever. They are not a luxury, okay? So get that out of your head. We get asked about VAs all the time. So today we're going to break down exactly how hosts can use a VA without overcomplicating it or wasting your hard-earned money.
And most hosts, you do not need more hustle, more work. You need follow through.
Oh my gosh, things fall through the cracks, not because you don't care, but because you're juggling all the things.
And a virtual assistant is not about just giving work away. It's about keeping your priorities visible and consistent.
When used correctly, a virtual assistant, a VA, gives you leverage, not dependency on your business. And here's the thing, if you want help applying the same thinking to your pricing, your revenue, and decision making, you can, of course, learn how to work with Annette and I, and we could personally help you leverage VAs. If you go to thanksforvisiting.com/waitlist, you can learn more. But let's talk about right now how you could start leveraging VAs and change that mindset that they're not a luxury, they are a necessity.
The first thing that you want to do, and this is where you need to take ownership, we want you to make a list of those repetitive tasks that you do daily, weekly, monthly, and then quarterly. And we all know that we have those tasks. It's you having to sit down and prioritize understanding what's happening. So those are DWMs, your daily, weekly, monthlies. That is what we first hand off to a virtual assistant. What are those daily, weekly, monthly tasks that with proper training, anyone could take off of your plate? And we want to make sure that when it's coming off of your plate, it's priorities that are moving the needle for you too. Just don't make it busy work that isn't a part of things that really need to be done. That's where we see a lot of mistakes. So again, you want to get down your daily, weekly, monthlies, and then start giving those to your virtual assistant immediately. And the big thing is, after you've done that, daily, you want to have a check-in with them. You're going to add that daily, weekly, monthly check-in with them. And every day, they're going to flag what those priorities are. How are you going to execute them? And then if there's anything urgent or overdue, they're going to be that second set of eyes for you to make sure nothing slips through the cracks.
And just to layer on to what you were saying, Annette, this also helps reduce that mental load first thing in the morning, right? You guys get me. We wear so many hats. I mean, sometimes you go to bed and you're your mind can't stop spinning. So we call that you want to do a brain dump. And when you have a virtual assistant, now you're not just brain dumping to your future self, you are brain dumping to someone else who's going to actually help you with that follow through, okay? And when you start getting that habit, when you figure out your daily, weekly, monthlies, you know where you can brain dump, where it'll actually be put into action. This helps you create momentum instead of that overwhelm. But what hosts get wrong here is putting the entire business on the back of the VA. Or you hire the VA and you expect the next day for you to be able to throw your hands up and start that pottery class you've always wanted to sign up for. That's not how that works, all right? You have that relationship with the VA. It's going to be as good as your training is, as good as your onboarding is, and as good as you remember you are still the CEO of your business. They will never care about your business as much as you do. Do not forget that. And you still have to lead them, motivate them, let them know that they are so capable of thinking for themselves, of helping you come up with good ideas. So no written weekly goals to anchor daily check-ins, and you and your VA are going to be lost, and it is going to be frustrating.
Tip number 2, having your virtual assistant help with guest communication support and sales. You are selling.
We're salespeople in that?
Yes, we are. So here has been the most practical way that I have used a VA since, I'd say, around 2016. They have helped me monitor my inboxes. Put your hand up if the inbox, every time you go to check in, there's a flurry more of messages, okay? And you can set this up to have them help you all the time with it. Maybe you can have them help you during certain hours, but this is something that I would give to your virtual assistant immediately. And I'm going to share with you, I actually have virtual assistant help me with not only my business inbox, but my personal too, because that needed a lot of help also. So they can help you draft responses, flag messages with your input. Those maybe routine questions that are coming in, They can answer those. They can help you set up meetings. I will let you know what I would have, and my VAs are working on now. They have implemented AI to help with this, and now they are still monitoring this, but the AI is helping them flush through all of the inboxes so much faster. And again, my virtual assistant is approving, and then there's still that other layer where I need to look at some of the messages. And what's awesome now is all of that time that used to be spent in the email inboxes can now be used on sales. And what we want you to have your virtual assistant helping you with is gap night sales. So if you have some days before or after check-in that are available, you want your virtual assistant reaching out to see if that guest wants to maybe come in early, stay late, also with a rate attached to it. If you have any upsell opportunities, which we highly encourage you to have, they could be upselling the guests that have already booked also. And this is how you have that virtual assistant help, quote unquote, pay for themselves. And we see so many hosts that aren't taking care of their gap night upsells or just upsell opportunities in general because they're bogged down with the day-to-day. So they're actually leaving money on the table by not hiring someone to help.
Taking what Annette was sharing with you a step further, studies show that it takes 22 minutes to get back on track from a ping or a distraction. All right, so you think it's not a big deal to multitask? I am telling you, you are losing thousands of dollars by not staying focused. It is not a badge of honor that you can sit at your desk and message with guests and answer your emails and look at new properties to purchase and maybe work your full-time job and be a parent, whatever. Congratulations, but you're not doing any of those things excellent. Okay, I'm just going to be real with you. If you actually had focused time where you're present and your whole mind and your whole being is focused on whatever it is that you're doing with that, and your VA, that's their job, is to be pinged, right? And to be able to catch things and make sure things are staying organized so that you can be in your zone of genius, you can be in your focus time. That is where you're going to make so much more money in your business, okay? So we want you to make sure that you are setting up your VA for success. Make sure you are giving them proper training when it comes to messaging your guests, understanding what sales opportunities are out there, understanding a decision tree when guests ask random questions. This might take time to develop, but it is so worth it.
Tip number 3, operational follow-through without being on site. This is when Sarah and I really unlocked that next level of hosting, because we're going to share with you oftentimes, which means all the time, when you are close to your property, you end up buffering by taking care of things because it's just right there next to you, or it's just down the street, or a mile or two away, where that distance requires SOPs. It requires things to be tracked. You cannot do last minute runs. So we love our virtual assistants being in charge of, for example, our inventory, our restocking when the inventory is low. They can do the ordering. Yes, they can do the ordering and have it delivered based on those PAR levels, which your on-site staff, which hopefully is your inspector, is taking track of for you. They can be the one following up on any of your vendors that have been there. Let's say carpet cleaning, window cleaning, trash collection, any of the HVAC that's done. They can do all of that follow-up on the billing and confirming that was done, and on your cleanings. So again, they have that separation, which it is amazing. Like, we are all for being hands-on in your property, but there is this great separation between your virtual assistant and the stuff that just needs to get done. They can crush it really quickly, and there becomes a different style of hosting. When things are not reactive, they're proactive. And that's what we see so much when someone finally hires their first team member. They move from reactive to proactive, and they can help you with all those proactive things.
All right, and here is why this really matters. This prevents last-minute scrambles. This prevents chaos in your brain, in your heart, because I know you all care so much about caring for your properties and for your guests. It keeps operations moving without you chasing people, creates that reliability behind the scenes and that big mindset shift, right? A virtual assistant does not inspect your property. This is an advantage because there is a clear line, like Annette was kind of talking about here, that boundary by being off property. Everyone has their lane. think like the VA is the dispatcher, not the doer. They track, they confirm, they document, they follow up, and they build that expectation, okay, of excellence, of everyone being on top of what it is they're supposed to be on top of. And they are the one kind of masterminding behind the scenes, making sure all those pieces fall into place.
Tip number 4, data and report prep.
This is a big one for all of you.
It is. You can have your virtual assistant be pulling your metrics weekly from everywhere. Let's say from Airbnb, maybe from your PMS, from Price Labs, okay? Maybe use other softwares. They can be pulling those reports. They can do a pre-analysis of those reports and then supply you with it. And that can be just simple summaries in the beginning, but then over time, you can help them flag trends. What are dips? What are those anomalies? That's where you're gonna want to let them in on your goals and share where you're started and where you wanna get to.
And I'm sure you guys can guess it, but here's why that matters. You stop finally avoiding your numbers. Decisions are based on patterns and data, not your feelings. All right. I hear some really smart business owners when they ask me a question, they challenge something that I'm reading off of a graph, off of data, and they're like, "Well, I just feel in my gut." I'm like, I hear your gut, and I do feel like you are as close to your property. You are the closest thing to your property. You really understand your property. Now let's mix that with this data so we can pull different levers and make smart business decisions here. Okay. So when the VA prepares the data, you then bring the art to the science, and then you both can work together to deploy something that's actually thoughtful. And if all of that, even training your VA, setting your VA up for success when it comes to data and reading information from your profit and loss, your balance sheet, or a pricing graph, that is what Annette and I can help with if you were to ever join our one-on-one coaching program. This is the exact thing we teach you. Once you understand it, become a more equipped CEO, you can then hire the VA to do the more busy work, and you can kind of come in and give that data narrative. And that is when it becomes really, really powerful. If you've got a handle on it, awesome. Just make sure you're setting up your VA for success. You're not trying to have them teach you, because again, you need to know enough to be dangerous to be able to make decisions for your business.
Tip number 5 is have them become your accountability partner, not just a doer of tasks. And this is super, super powerful. This is where you want to have that meeting. You want to share with them what your goals are and include them, have them as a partner on your goals, and that VA can be checking the progress on those goals. If you have unfinished initiatives, this is where you want to give due dates. I don't know about you, but like when I have a due date, I am getting it done. When I share that due date with someone else, it is for sure getting done. So that is the thing of it, sharing those due dates with them. When are they going to be done? And allowing them, I tell my VA, look, if this is not done and moving along, you need to get after me. Like that, they can hold you accountable. And also sharing with them any of those long-term projects, why are they not moving forward? You have to give them and empower them to say, hey, we are a team. If I'm falling behind, and share with them how you want them to do that. Is it they send you an email? Do you bring it up in a meeting? Because they might be fearful of having to hold your feet to the fire. So like they might not want to do that and call you out. Give them the power to call you out. So that's one thing that I think you need to share with them out of the gate too is, hey, they're not just doing these tasks, they're there to be your partner.
Execution beats ideas. All right, so we're not just having you blindly hire a virtual assistant, right? There has to be intention behind this partnership. They have to be the right person. You have to have synergy. The virtual assistant helps you do the things you already know you should do, but maybe you're avoiding it because you know there's a lot of busy work behind the scenes. Okay, let them do that quote unquote busy but important work, and then they hand that baton off to you and you tell them, okay, I want to be done with this part now. In 2 weeks' time, let's set up a meeting for then, and then you know, because you want to show up as an awesome leader and let them know that, hey, I'm going to hold myself accountable because I expect you to hold yourself accountable, and this is how we're going to get things done, all right? but it's not emotional labor. We're not life coaching the VA. They're not life coaching us, right? This is a partnership. This is a combined effort to get something to a finish line. All right. It is gentle, consistent accountability on both parts, and you both are bought in to winning. All right. So let's get to where most, how most of these relationships fail. We see it all the time. Annette and I check ourselves. Even we're still hiring, whether it's a VA or an employee. We actually just made the decision to pump the brakes on hiring, because you cannot hire someone, a VA or otherwise, to fix chaos. All right. You need to bring them in and support the systems that you've built. All right. So they are not there to necessarily invent SOPs. They're there to perfect them, or maybe work with you hand in hand to create them together. But I think a lot of business owners they miss the fact that this VA is not going to build your business for you.
Or train themselves.
It's never going to work out well if you wanted them you're going to hire them and you just set them on their way and you expect them to report back and have this beautiful foundation laid for your business, okay? They follow you. You are your business, right?
Well, it goes back to your first job all the way to where you are now. Every single position that you've had most likely came with a training program.
Oh, yeah.
Days and days of training, then maybe days and days of following someone around. So we've all been in that situation before. In jobs, in careers. So think about that with this person is someone you're hiring onto your team. They need proper onboarding. And that is where every time someone comes to us and say, I tried to hire a VA, it didn't work. When we scratch one level below the surface, the answer always is, well, no, I didn't train them. They didn't have SOPs. You have to take ownership of that.
You certainly do. I also think back, that's a good parallel, Annette, of thinking back to when you had jobs, whether it's a corporate or restaurant or hotel or whatever, and you've had two experiences. You've had that onboarding experience where it is put together, it is polished, you feel supported, you feel like you can ask any question and you know who to go to ask that question. And you've also had those experiences where you are thrown to the fire, you are frustrated, you feel your blood boiling, you feel nervous, you feel not ready to answer questions from customers or what have you.
Or scared to go to the person that's hired you.
Your leader, right.
Yeah.
And then you're out. You're like, I can't, it's not worth it to be in this environment. So just remember those moments. I also remember leaders of the great experiences being onboarded and how they empowered me to make certain decisions. So think about that before you bring on a VA. What are they empowered to do? Do they have a financial threshold to make financial decisions, to move things along? Maybe you tell them you can make, if a decision's going to cost $100 for the month or whatever, I'm just making things up right now, you are empowered to make that decision. You could even give them a specific debit card that has spending limits on it, but this way they truly feel a part of the team and they're not bottlenecked for such small financial questions, right, with you, right? Or can they speak on your behalf to certain people? Can they open all of your emails? Which emails can they respond to? And maybe with time, you open up different layers of those responsibilities, but just think about that. What is the path you want them to follow in the relationship with you? Undefined boundaries cause avoidance or overreach. So we want you to make sure that you're treating your virtual assistant like the human they are. But I'm even going to say that and think about all the AI models we train in it and how we have to train the AI model.
Yeah,
with the prompt them.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times you've gone back to your prompt and even massaged it and made it better because it's just not,
you're not
the
communicating.
output isn't what I want it to be, and that's on me and that prompt that I gave it. I have to continue to come back and make sure that it's giving the output that I want.
You want to make sure you give feedback early and very clearly. Don't delay on that. And always take that ownership even when you're giving feedback of, you know what, maybe I didn't train you complete in this area. Let's go back, review it, and give that feedback immediately because it will come back to haunt you.
Clarity is kindness.
And here's the deal. You just have to get out there and hire. I've had so many virtual assistants over the years. Some of them lasted a couple weeks, a couple months, but some of them have lasted now for years. So it was so worth going out there, training, maybe a few misses, but the hits that I have been with me for like almost 7 years now. Shout out Candy. She knows all the inboxes, all the things. So here's the deal. Get out there, hire. If you find out your onboarding wasn't just right, you have to let somebody go, hire somebody else until you get it right. It is so worth it. And let us know in the comments if you have a virtual assistant. Tell us what they help you with. Where did you find them? Let other hosts know how you did this. Help everybody out.
With that, I am Sarah Karakayan.
I'm Annette Grant, and together we are
Thanks for visiting.